What's up, everyone? It's Bruce. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome back to Spiritual Biohacking. Today I'm going to be going into an introductory video because I don't feel like I'm personally an expert in this field, but I wanted to add this to the spiritual biohacking content and to at least switch some people's paradigms about crystals. So by paradigm, I mean, I totally get if you have like, Russo's a crazy rock lady now and, he don't know anything and like he's collecting rocks. What an acoustic, right? Well, all these crystals have different vibrating resonances, frequencies, which impacts your body's water. Remember, made out of water, its vibrational pattern. It impacts your aura, EMF, electromagnetic field around the body, and crystals in general have been used for who knows how many years at this point. And I think nowadays, with if words were bayonets, some certain crystals could help you in day-to-day life. And I'm going to be going into the crystals that I own and the reasonings behind why I own them. And I will err sides of caution with the one quartz crystal I will talk about. But yeah, I want to switch people's paradigms into a sense of, with all the electronics, which are impacting your vibration, your resonance, your EMF, you can look to crystal technology as a way to, again, influence your EMF in all sorts of ways. Not every crystal is the same, and not every person is going to react, the same way to each individual one. But I will state for a fact that there's more than the hoopla rock girl meme with crystals, okay? I am not the biggest collector. I have always been very interested in crystals, and ever since I was young, I could feel the energy of crystals when I would go into crystal shops. And over the years, I just grew to, go towards that more than, let's say, how in general, and I'm not talking any smack or anything, but a lot of males go towards watches, such as like Rolex, AP. All these watches use what? A quartz crystal. So you have a quartz crystal that is constantly firing on your wrist, and then it's moving all the intricate parts, which is creating a resonance, a vibration that you can feel and that people spiritually hold, especially males in the watch game. Again, the power coming from that is a quartz crystal. So that is still tying all those men in suits into the rock chicks, right? So let's get started with the crystal I think everyone under the sun could benefit from, and that is wild cut citrine. So I will just go on and say that there's a company called iPyramids, and in my opinion, they are way ahead of the game, pioneer in the game. And I have bought with my own money their citrine amulet. So this is a citrine crystal in a teardrop cut, which was formed into an amulet, meaning that all this around it, here, I'll get close to the camera. So all that around it is so when you put it on your chest, there's way more surface value of the crystal touching, aka it's influencing your vibration, your resonance, your frequency, your EMF, your aura at a more crazier rate than just holding it in your pocket per se. So this is an amulet. Now citrine is going up in value all the time. It's really not a bad investment. Especially a lot of these crystals aren't really bad investments, but citrine in general, I feel like everyone is catching on to citrine. But if you know the chakra system, which I'll throw out the chakra system, basically citrine is acting upon the solar plexus chakra, which in my opinion, if you're in speech and debate and you're going back on mics and you're leaning into it, you're losing. Everyone loses debates, everyone wins debates. But if you're on the losing end, citrine pushed against your solar plexus chakra would help you stay up. So when I go under my shirt and go to my solar plexus and push this on, I feel higher. So if I was a lawyer per se, if I was a cold caller per se, if I was any sort of boss where I'm constantly trying to step over and or doing a deal, I can tell when I take it off too. The solar plexus chakra would help me stay up and arguing, debating, going back and forth, exchanging yin and yang in a debate, and really coming out on top that I'm in a more relaxed state if I'm being yanked on with this amulet pushed into me than I would if it was not. So right off the bat, this is the, I'm just getting straight to the point, this is the most useful one in my opinion for day to day. I believe eye pyramids, this amulet costs around $1,700. So yeah, worth every penny. And if you had a bigger one, you know, it would almost be like more of like a abundance, you know, ego booster. Like if you had a really big one. But this one with the amulet setup that eye pyramids did, and it's really cool amulet, honestly, that this is certainly enough. And you know, it's not like over the top massive necklace, right? But it does get the job done as far as a day-to-day driver. If I was constantly talking to people, arguing with people, debating people, cold calling people, selling to people, this would improve my vibrational chance of maintaining my cool to constantly step up, even if I was per se losing, right? Because there's always a reverse Uno. And the reverse Uno might not come until you go through the conversation for a very long time, then boom, it's back in your corner. This could help you maintain your cool by keeping you up. So I wanted to feature this citrine amulet. I think everyone should try citrine. And yeah, this amulet is like the perfect setup for this. I also have a fossil. So this is an arthropod. This is just to show that when I do grab this, I do feel a very small slight change in vibration. But this is just to show that this is impacting your EMF, your aura, your resonance, your frequency. Your body is water. Your water vibrates. Certain things impact your water, including electronics, as well as natural wild cut citrine. So all these fossils, when you go to a museum and you see actual real fossils, the way they're so, you know, I would say, I'm always perplexed when I see fossils, you know, spiritually. It's because this is locked in from a different time period. And when you grab it, you can kind of feel the difference in vibration. Before I get to my bigger crystals, I did want to go into one that has caused, since this is a biohacking channel, the most controversy in my mind is, and it's going way up in price, and I think there's only so much of it available, obviously, is mulvadite. So there are theoretical healing properties of mulvadite. Mulvadite is, it seemed to be a fallen asteroid, so it seemed to like not be from here. And people with mulvadite experience almost getting sick, like a purging feeling. And this is followed by them generally feeling better per se after they do what's called a mulvadite flush. And to me, if I'm making the argument, oh, no, this citrine amulet, for sure, if you wore it day by day, you would notice a difference in your frequency and vibration. Crystal technology works. I go into the Rolexes, use the fucking crystal that's constantly pushing all the immaculate engineering in that, and it's creating a different resonance frequency on your wrist. You cannot argue at all that crystals don't work if you fuck around and find out with mulvadite. And mulvadite is like my ultimate trump card of like, yeah, crystals do work. I don't understand why crystals are bashed, because I don't know, people will do all this other stuff to impact their mind, to impact their spirituality, when if we go back for years and years and years and years, like crystal technology was being used on crowns of kings and queens. Why? It's impacting the resonance and vibration. They're putting it near their head. This gives them, in my opinion, better speaking abilities back then, because the crystals are creating different frequencies, resonances, and impacting their electromagnetic field, normally making it stronger. AKA, citrine helps me stay up in an argument. This is stuff we can implement into our day-to-day lives currently, and it can be used the same way this technology is also impacting it. So I want to showcase my larger crystals, because this amulet is good enough, but normally I will make the pitch, if somebody wants to get into crystals, you should essentially just save up for a really big piece. It'd be wild cut, and you just save your money and like invest into it. With me stating that citrine has gone up in value quite a bit. There's only so much wild cut citrine, and mulvedite has skyrocketed in value. So it's not like these are assets that I can't go to a crystal shop and just trade that in on something. There's one in Pittsburgh where I could do a clean trade, and if I had, you know, bigger pieces, or if I bought a $8,000 piece of mulvedite and sat on it, I guarantee it would go up in value, and it would be able to flush me if I wanted to go through that spiritual experience. Maybe I hit a rough patch in my life, I start carrying mulvedite around me, and it reverberates me into a different state spiritually, and that may or may not help me get out of there. And some people will come at me arguing, why does Russo acoustically collect rocks? Because of that reason, right? They're extremely powerful. These next crystals, I want to, not the rose amethyst, but the other two crystals, I'm going to err on the side of caution that they're extremely big and powerful, and you got to know that these impact your mind. I guess I'll go into like another tangent. So I was looking into crystal skulls, especially Madagascar skulls. Now, again, you can vibrate all over the place. I'm talking about vibrating high. Russo's Mr. Stay High all the time. Other people can chase a low resonance 666 power frequency, where you're looking into these Madagascar skulls. If you're unaware of what you're fucking around with, you're going to find out that you could spiritually be a very different person within like a week of being exposed around that, and you not know. So just err on the side of caution when I discuss at least the two bigger crystals. I feel like the rose amethyst is pretty safe as far as what I feel from it. But the other two could definitely move you very far spiritually. And it's good to just know that, hey, you know, this is impacting the way I vibrate, and I'm constantly being around it, just like my phone. But this one is not, you know, this is nature, right? This is not locked in something that's like tracking it. This is essentially like just raw nature moving it. And yeah, I would hate to see someone get into some of the more powerful, lower vibrating ones, which could be great if you're trying to maintain an ego for a brand and you're the face of a brand and you are trying to create that. And that's the way you are progressing and feeding other people as far as like the financial stability tree. A lot of people do go that route. I would just say, like, when I'm saying this stuff ain't BS, it's not, right? It's not. I use the Rolex example, and if you don't believe me, just go get some mulvedite and you'll see what I mean. But these are my big pieces. All right, first up in the big crystal category of my pieces, I have a rose amethyst moon. As far as like visually, it's stunning. A lot of detail. Obviously get a close-up shot for you guys, but I'm not really talking about it. It's obviously an art piece, and when you enter my house, you know, this immediately sets the mood of, you know, the type of vibe that I personally bring to the world. And you know, I get tons of compliments on it, but like I said, I'm here to prove that this is changing my vibration. So amethyst, apparently, according to Google, is the frequency and resonance of self-love. I'll say out of all my big pieces, this is the weakest one. You know, when I do get my hand next to it, I do feel a difference on my hand than if I take my hand away. I haven't been charging this crystal, so that's another thing I didn't discuss in the other scene, is that all these crystals need charge either by being under the full moon, or you could also charge them with cleaning them and cleansing them with salt water. I haven't charged any of these, and I would say that if I did charge this one up to its max potential, you know, you normally would want a skylight or something, like you would want the moonlight to constantly be beaming on it, and the store I got it from, all the crystals were in the window, right? So if I had this fully charged up, like when you would enter my house, you would immediately have your energy, your resonance, your frequency switched into a more like self-love family state coming into the house. So that would be literally, you could add in tons of benefits for a business entryway. Obviously your personal home like mine would be great, but when people again are exposed to this, they're tying that to me when they come in to my house. You know, they're literally flipped. That helps me regulate my energy around them better when the crystal is doing the work for me, right? That's the other thing that these crystals do, is that they're moving your customer, your friends, your family energy around without you having to speak anything. And that could be very advantageous. And I just, again, think that people think that these aren't acting upon that. These are 100% acting upon your EMF. I will say that the rose amethyst is definitely the weakest out of my big pieces, but when I first got it and it was more fully charged, you know, when I would come in, I would be heightened from the gym. When I come through the front door, look at it, I feel myself go down a little bit, and it's letting off its own frequency and changing this space upon the entryway. So yeah, stunning piece. I love the way it looks, and it just always catches eyes immediately when anyone comes in the house. And the reason why is because the detail. All right guys, next crystal I got to show you is the Himalayan salt rock crystal. So this is over 100 pounds. It is basically dented in this dresser, and boy, yeah, I feel this crystal is insanely powerful in the sense of this is like almost an EMF shield, and it helps me sleep at night. I get deeper sleep. It seems like I can enter the different brain waves of the sleep cycle easier. My cell phone is much slower. The Wi-Fi is much slower. It is blocking all these signals, and it's allowing my natural aura EMF to heal itself without the constant stimulation of the tech around us. This is a must-have. Problem is, they're expensive, and in my opinion, you need at least above 50 pounds for it to be, you know, the benefits I'm talking about. You know, I think this one is closer to around 120 pounds, and it is extremely strong. Like, I do sleep better in this room than the other rooms, and it's not because of the mattress, it's because the crystal is adjusting the space in this room, and it definitely creates a more like surreal, I'm in nature feeling. And the way you can relate this is when you go camping. When you go camping and you sleep in the woods, everything feels different. It's the trees around you, obviously less tech around you, but it's primarily the trees around you changing the space and creating more of an EMF shield, right? Same sort of thing with this. This one needs to be heated. So for this to work, I constantly have to run a traditional light bulb, which heats up the inside, And sometimes if I really want to shield this room, or if I want to create a, bigger pull off the crystal as far as helping me sleep, helping my EMF, you could light candles around it and it would heat off the field even bigger. And this is one of those ones where, again, I can see why people don't think these work when they buy a 10-pound one and they light it up, because I don't think that's anywhere near how much is needed when I'm saying this one's over 100 pounds and it is literally breaking my dresser. This one works. My download speeds, my upload speeds on my phone are terrible in this room. The Wi-Fi is struggling because it has to break through the barrier this crystal is creating. If you have children, I highly recommend you put one of these at a sizable size in their rooms, and I guarantee they'll sleep better. I guarantee they'll have more fulfilling dreams each night, and overall they will associate their room in a more calm manner, because this crystal, again, when it's heated up, when it's lit up, is impacting the vibrational energy of this room entirely. And I really do like coming up here and knowing that, like, this is my unwind space. This is where I need to unwind, right? And if I'm sitting up here and I'm not associating this space with, this is where I unwind, again, it creates this paradox of, like, I can't get out of the high output work mode. I can't fuck off and check out and, like, unwind and relax. This helps move my mind spiritually in that way. And when I have the crystal fully heated under candles, I'm very drowsy in here. It really does impact my mood that much, and I'm a dude that uses steroids and stuff all the time. If I say that this is 100% worth the money to spend on a massive one, I put my word on that, because I do think these can help people. I do see the paradigm argument that the people selling the 5-pound, 10-pound ones and stating all these benefits, that is where this tech is getting ruined, in my opinion. Save up, buy the biggest one you can. It will be worth it. Obviously, it looks stunning at night in here. It changes the whole mood of this room. But it's doing more vibrationally, and what we can't see, more than meets the eye. That's what it's doing, right? And I 100% think that everyone should honestly have one of these. And I can see why there's skeptics. I will say to the skeptics, go around one that's over 100 pounds that's been heated for a long time. This light runs all the time. It's obviously always heated. And when I come in the room, I immediately feel the vibrational space difference of this one sitting here. And when I lay down, I have deeper sleep with more dreams. And this one was a lot to get used to when I first got it, because it was very much a change from how I was sleeping before to when I got this crystal. And it was just like one of the most amazing feelings in the world that it was providing me that much relief. And I spent a lot on this, right? I spent a lot on this. And I think that a lot of people who say, like, it doesn't work, they get sold the small, tiny one at the store. They literally say it's just a light. And I would agree, it's not powerful enough. Let's think of the size of the field for it to really impact an EMF of a person. But if you do get a big enough one, I guarantee you will notice the difference if you keep it heated up all the time. Alright guys, the final crystal I have to show you, and again, if you guys use coupon code Russo, I will accumulate more rocks, don't worry. This one is the most dangerous one by far. This is a actual wild cut of quartz, and this was found in a cave in South America. And yeah, I got it in South Carolina. This one is wildly powerful, okay? This one was, when I purchased the crystal,
the owner wanted to meet with me to, you know, meet the spirit that was going to interact with this one, right? And this one, I've had girls come over the house and they're like, wow, I can feel the aura of this. Like, they're like, you know, like that level with this, right? And this ties back into the watches, you know, the males with the watches, right? This is what is powering all those watches. Obviously the intricacies, the mastermind of the watchmanship, I'm all about. But the root variable that's powering it is a quartz crystal. This is over 100 pounds. I have no idea how much it is. It's so fucking heavy. It was so fucking hard to get here. And it's wild to be around. You know, I have this in between my office, almost as if I placed it in the, per se, heart of the home, you know, per se. And it has been quite an experience with this one, because this one has been, in my opinion, the most dangerous one for me to mess around with, because it impacts my mood so immediately, and it is very hard to come down. So this is the stay high all the time crystal for sure. And this is real wild cut quartz. Like, there's all these perfect imperfections on this crystal cluster that make it not only, you know, stunning to look at, but you know that nature made this, right? There's no like machining or anything. It's a raw cluster, and this one is not for the faint of heart, for sure. So I'll give a couple stories with it. Basically, you know, this crystal I've always wanted for a very long time. I go to this same crystal shop in Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's called Black Market Minerals. Shout out to them. But I always saw this crystal in the window, and it was, again, you know, the one where I'm like, oh, there's something going on with this rock, right? You know, and I would walk by as a young kid, and eventually one day I decided to pull the trigger and get it. So that's when the games began with this crystal. So obviously it took a person forever to bubble wrap it up. And then, you know, I met everyone over the crystal, and they just wanted to make sure, you know, I wasn't too loco before they sold me the crystal, right? Anyways, we loaded up in the car. The manifesting power was so obnoxious. It drove me into a mania the whole drive home. And yeah, my EMF was like supercharged. It was like pure mania forever. And it was like to a point where I'm like, there is no way somebody can't believe in this crystal tech. You know, it was just like, it's in the back of the trunk. We're driving, and we can't, it was in the back seat, but we're driving, and like, seriously, I'm feeling my EMF being cooked by this thing for hours. So I finally get it home, and here's the next story. I'm trying to figure out a way to get this thing into my house. This thing is sharp, jagged, and very hard to fucking move. And that has been a issue, is that this thing is not charged. And for me to charge it, I either have to get like a dolly and dolly it to my deck and sit it under the moon, but probably end up having to wash this one and cleanse it off. But yeah, I picked it up, try to move it onto this stand, and I cut myself. So I cut myself. I was manic for like fucking 4 days in a row off of just cutting myself one time. And it was obnoxious because like I pulled this part of this quartz crystal out, and I'm like, ugh. And then it just took forever to come down. Then I'm like sitting up under the salt rock lamp trying to fucking cool it off. But this could change your office completely if you get one that is constantly charging. This is not charged right now. I will eventually figure out a way. I want to charge it under the moon, like naturally, but I will either cleanse it with salt water or get it charged eventually, but it is not charged right now. But I'm saying, if you had an office where you guys need to spark ideas and stuff, this is going to raise the frequency vibe in the room to an obnoxious level of the stories I just stated when it was fully charged. And it might give you that idea, that bubble that pops up, that light bulb, that might come from you just placing one of these in the office. And or if you place it around your entryway of your office, your business, whatever, people would immediately be wildly raised upon entry, which you could take into advantage of initial conversation. This one is for sure, going to impact people different ways. I could see people going wildly loco, not knowing how much this is going to impact you. This is also not one where, you want to constantly be around it. I could see someone having an obsession with being around it. I used to actually sit here and smoke and try and push into the field and stuff. And yeah, this was one where, everyone in the shop's who's buying that? They wanted to see who's buying that. That's why I paint these other stories, that these can move you spiritually in a very wrong direction. This being one of them. You don't want to be fucking crazy manic and not have the ability to come down. And that was one of the things where immediately buying the crystal and trying to transport it to my house, I'm in the car, not able to come down. Then I cut myself, I'm not able to come down for days. And here's one of the pieces, right? And you could charge these and carry these with you to stay higher. But yeah, this one is definitely something to look into if you have an office or you have a business or you want the vibe to be wildly raised. You do have to charge this thing. Preferably you put it under a full moon, and it'll be reeking aura when you come back in, and it'll just literally be dumping sauce everywhere. And yeah, you just can't go nuts over it. Can't go nuts over it. You gotta be very spiritually sound. You got to be able to constantly know when you're out of alignment, or you're doing this to become out of alignment, to maybe work harder or something, and then you come back into alignment, right? So this is a more advanced one. I think it ties very nicely into just the watches I painted in the beginning of everyone likes looking at their high-end watch for the obvious craftsmanship and watch work, but that root variable power source is a quartz crystal. This one is well over 100 pounds, and this is in the heart of my house, but by my office. So when I am doing speaking on camera, this is helping me push through, and it could give me a creative tangent that sparked because my EMF is higher. I might have a more emotional response to something that I'm speaking. If I'm candid and it's just going off of one take, this might deliver a couple extra lines because I'm in that higher state when it was fully charged. It's not fully charged right now, but yeah, to me, this stuff, with the males at least, needs to be acknowledged that everyone has an EMF, everyone vibrates differently, everyone controls space differently, but these can help you learn that you move around every day, that you must regulate and realign yourself every day. And if you're around this fully charged and raised redlining, you would understand that, oh, well, I'm letting these things in my life do that to me. I should probably just realign. And that might come from an epiphany around one of these rocks. Say Russo the rock collector, the acoustic rock collector. This one I wanted to showcase because this one is definitely more edgy, high performance. Russo got the Mania crystal in his house. Yeah, I do, right? And it was quite a experience, first acclimating to it. And it's honestly to a point where when I do recharge this, I will constantly be taking notes on how I'm moving spiritually, just because of how rapidly it moved me last time. I was so overly ambitious. It was crazy driving home with it, the amount of frequency of ambition I had, to a point where it was impacting my day-to-day actions per minute, right? So this is like that thing where there was a reason why in the shop they wanted to see the spirit that was going to be sitting next to this, interacting with this, because it could completely disalign you and you would have to chase alignment again. So I think citrine everyone can benefit from. Personally, I don't really see an issue with hyperactivating your solar plexus chakra system. This one is not for the faint of heart. I could see this one driving a person so manic that they just literally lose conception of their day-to-day to a point where they associate this with their new persona, not that this is a spiritual tool that you must realign with after. That's the dangers of one this size. And then the Himalayan salt rock crystal, I think they get a bad rap because I see how they're being sold, and I see the pricing for the size, and then I show you the size of mine and that it's breaking my dresser, and I'm saying like, yeah, I like saved up to a point I could get that one versus get a couple small ones, because my mother has a small one. It's a good lamp. It's a good lamp, but it don't fucking do anything like I said, the giant one I have, and she agrees, right? She like came over and saw that one. This one, I just like the one girl's reaction to her, aura being messed up by this. This one's no joke, and I would definitely err on the side of caution if you're gonna get a piece like this, because this is not something that you want to take lightly, because if you're not like a good spirituality traveler of chasing alignment again, you could be regretting that, like, I was a way different person before I got this and now I'm this, and then you could like self-implode, and that could literally just be from you placing this amount of quartz in your life for a little bit. And that's what you got to watch with this stuff, and that's why, in my opinion, the store I bought it from is called Black Market Minerals, right? You're literally modulating your EMF so extremely, and they had a couple extreme pieces, but this one, for sure, if you're around this, you would literally be at a higher raised state if I fully charged it. And I've seen it happen to multiple people who have come in the studio. They're not even aware that this crystal is here. And then, I see them perk up. So there's a couple things from me and my side of crystals. I will say, to close this out, that if you do get a crystal, make sure it's big enough, and make sure that you know that spiritually you can always realign. You chase realignment. That this quartz crystal is really hard for me to realign from, and my father was not too enthused that I bought the biggest wild cut quartz cluster in the store and was transporting it to my house, because it depends on how you take spirituality. I feel like I'm a very spiritual person, and if this one yanked me some sort of way, which I'm saying this 100% can yank anyone a certain way, that I would be able to chase alignment again. And that is something you just got to become aware with. I feel like the Himalayan salt rock, everyone can use. Citrine is great. That rose amethyst, like, it's a little mood booster. But this is the big dog, this is the heavy hitter, and I think that, if more entrepreneurs were aware, I feel like these would be sitting in all these people's houses. And I have one in the heart of my home, and once I recharge it, it will just be dumping, a higher level of frequency, the same way a Rolex watch makes you feel like the man. This one makes you feel like, the loco man that's ready to accomplish everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in my next video.